Welcome to the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I am your host, Natalie, an international real estate expert. Join me as we explore the thrilling world of global real estate. We'll uncover diverse international markets, backed by solid data and engaging insights. Each episode features expert guests from the hottest markets, providing you with the knowledge to invest wisely and successfully. Whether you are a local realtor aiming to go global or an investor curious about international opportunities, this is the podcast for you. Get ready to transform your approach and achieve global real estate success to become a real estate investment nomad. Hello, everybody. This is Natalie with Unicorn Properties in the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. Today, we are interviewing Alain Bessette, who is a mortgage broker that is based in Mexico. But he's not from Mexico originally, as you can see. He's from Canada. And he decided that he's going to leave Canada behind and go to Mexico. And we would love to hear the stories that come with that, especially because you're in the lending industry and there is so much unknown in that space, especially in Mexico. So please tell us more about you.
Thank you, Natalie. I moved to Mexico 9 years ago. I was tired of the snow, the cold, and the depressing temperature over there. It's always great. So I came to my little corner of paradise. And at some point, everyone wanted to buy a house. So I passed by all the process. I looked for a mortgage, I looked for financing, and it was just impossible to have. Everybody was pretending to be able to find something. They make you last 4 months. And after that, no call, no answer, no message. So at some point at the beginning of last year, 2023, I was looking for mortgage. I was looking for financing. Then I discovered one franchise that they were talking about maybe in the future, talking about mortgage for foreigners. So I jumped in the nice story, and now it's our success story. I specialized. I did all my course in Spanish to get my license. I'm not ashamed to say that I didn't pass the first time. It's a really complex exam. It's in Spanish, my third language. But I got it after it. So I'm the first Canadian to have his mortgage broker license official that I can lend everywhere in Mexico. I'm not attached to a specific state. I work in all the states of Mexico, the 32 states that we have here. And we work with everyone who wants a mortgage. So that's more or less the introduction for the new journey with now it's possible to get a mortgage here in Mexico for foreigners.
That's amazing. I think at the beginning when we started doing real estate in Mexico, that was the hardest part to find. Reliable, somebody who answers their phone, somebody who understands the buyer that we're bringing to the table. So all this, it's not only, I feel like a communication when it comes to language thing. It's not a language barrier. It's more like an understanding terms and how the international, buyers buy in Mexico. So having your perspective, from two different countries, bridging this gap of, hey, let me hold your hand from the process before you even leave your country, because you can probably do an application online. And then when you get here, you're, more prepared to look for what you can afford or what you can pay for instead of spending all your cash in it, right?
Everybody here, Natalie, it's the big story. Go cash your 401k retirement fund. Go refinance your house in your country to the roof and come here and pay cash. No, I don't love my ratio. I don't love to be super in debt in my country. And being here, all paid cash and don't creating my credit history. So it was a nonsense. It's still a nonsense to do that.
Yeah, most people do that because they don't know any better. And even as we sometimes have talked about, how some people transition to Mexico, but taking money out of your 401k is super expensive, all the fees that come with it and the fines. So it's not like, I just cash out from an ATM and go to Mexico. You lose a lot of money in that process. So would you be able to explain a little bit more on what would be the steps somebody needs to follow? Who qualifies, who doesn't qualify, so people can understand outside of Mexico, hey, it's possible, and this is how.
The first big thing, it's the credit report you have in your country. If it's under 689, it's not possible. Here, they have a mindset, they have old rules, old politics, and they all base their analysis on the credit report.
Mhm.
Of course, we talk about foreigners, real estate investor. They probably don't want to put 5% because it doesn't exist to put 5% of cash down. So they arrive here with 25, 30, 40, or 50% cash down. But the banks and the financial institution, they didn't analyze the risk like we do. So for me, if it was my own money that I was lending, you bring 50% cash, just show me your passport and it's okay. The case is done. But here they have a big rules. They have a big banking disrupting story in the past. So they put a lot of measure. They put a lot of strict rules. So everything starts with the credit report. You can be a millionaire, but if you have 685,
You don't qualify.
it's rejected automatically. They don't analyze it more. They don't do it more. So that's the first thing. All the rest, same thing than other country.
Okay.
It will be 2 years of tax declaration, 12 months of banking statement to analyze your all, because now we are in the final of August. So they need to have the last December pay slip to see how much did you did the cumulative in your year. So it's almost the same thing. You will need a letter of confirmation from your employer when you are employees. So everything is basically the same, but the credit bureau, the credit report, not negotiable.
Oh, interesting. So keep your credit up and high wherever you're from,
Exactly.
as Canada in this case, as our primary buyers. Otherwise, you're just cut off.
Yeah, exactly. It's white or black. There's no gray zone for credit report.
Okay. That's good to know. So then, would you consider that one of the main challenges for the foreign buyers? Or what would be one of the main challenges that you see that your clients go through when, doing this process?
The main challenge is to gather all the information quickly. One of the biggest unknown secret of the banking system here, or the banking pre-approval process, everything starts with your bank statement period. Because if you from the 1st to the 30th of the month, we need to start your process the 1st or the 2nd, because they have a 30 days valid document that expires. So when it's expired, they ask for another one. And now we start the go back and forth with Natalie, can you please send me that paper? And you are on vacation. So when we start the thing with the good and perfect timeline, like in the example from the bank statement period, it's the only one we cannot change. The letter of employment or the credit bureau, it's on the day you ask for it that you got the dates. So the person, your employer, will sign the letter. It will be the 2nd of the month. You will go online. In United States, it's on Experian. In Canada, it's Equifax. You go online yourself and you download your credit score, your credit report with the FICO score. So when we combine those three documents, the 2nd of the month, we have 28 days to complete your process, to negotiate with the bank, to get an offer after a week and go to see another bank to get you another offer. You understand, you can manage it very well. But the big challenge here is, people arrive, they are in sandals, they have a drink, they go see a pre-sale, or they go see a house on the
On the beach?
sale
Yeah.
on the beach, exactly, on Friday afternoon. They sign an offer, they give a deposit, and on Monday morning, let's look for a financing in Mexico.
Yes.
So frustrating for the agent, the real estate agent like you that will accompany a customer and you will lose the deal because nothing is possible to do from here for your foreign customer. They don't have access to all their paper. They don't bring their drive with them. They don't have the 2 year tax declaration, notice of assessment. So it's frustrating for the constructor, the seller, the real estate agent, and it put a lot of pressure on the client. For us, we know that it's impossible. So we don't enter in the game.
Mhm.
We know it will be impossible. So that's one of the biggest challenge after the credit score.
Yeah, interesting. So I see a lot of cases like that, like I think I think once you land in Cancun, you get flooded with so many offers, options. It's like you're being, you're candy in a candy store, but they want to sell you all these things and you just are sometimes confused. You just don't know where to go, who to trust, where to, you know, uh, who to follow in that way. So I have seen some clients that, yeah, they're in the resort, they take them out to, una charla, a little presentation, and then they're like, oh yeah, buy these, and these are the terms. It sounds everything beautiful. But then they get with the surprise that there's some, it's not that easy to get pre-approved first, and then sometimes is the who are you buying from? The case that you just don't know. So I always tell people to be super mindful and do the research before they put any down payment, any enganche, any money. So I suggest to also employ an attorney in that case because they don't know what they're signing. They're just excited in the process. It's nice and beautiful on the beach. It's a nice resort. So then that kind of gives you from the honeymoon stage to, oh my God, I'm marrying. What happened? So I think it has happened to us quite a bit, and some cases and stories we hear that that happens to tourists in general. From your perspective, to get a mortgage and the type of different mortgages based on your nationality, will that vary based on who you are and what's your passport like, or is mostly on the credit score? What are the type of mortgages that your team offers?
Type of mortgages, it's the same thing that we have in Canada or United States. You can have fixed rate, variable rate, you can have 20, 25, 30 years. All the basics are the same. The big difference, it's when you are like an American, you have a passport American, but you're born in France. This will just add a little layer of complication because we need to get your certificate, a birth certificate from your country.
Oh,
And depending on the country you were born, it will maybe need to be legalized or maybe to be apostillate, apostillated. Sorry for my English.
the
So
seal.
it's two different things.
Mhm.
We worked with a lot of customer last year. They were born in Haiti. The Haiti situation is not the best right now. So the consulate or the diplomatic embassy, they don't provide that services. So we had a lot of person that they are still waiting their birth certificate and it's 6 months ago. So
Well,
it's a big complication for that. But the other thing will stay credit report. So if you are, we had a case, it was a person from Israel. So they were arriving very like 2 years or 3 years that they were nationalized as American in the United States, but the place of birth on the certificate, on the passport was Israel. So we needed to ask them to go on Dun and Bradstreet and to download their Israeli credit bureau. Don't know who can read that in the Mexican bank because it's all written in the other language that I cannot read. You see the number is good, but all the rest, they have to hire traductor, translator. So those kind of things just add a little layer. But when we do things in the good order, and when we have 20 or 28 or 30 days to work the case,
nice.
it's not a problem. The, Natalie, the pre-approval is valid for 90 days with a little extension of 30 days. So it's 120 days valid. So for me, big advice, do the things in a good order. Do your pre-approval and then go look on the market. Go find you the place that goes the according with your budget. When we were talking about falling in love with a place and signing on the Saturday, on a Friday night, and on Monday trying at distance to withdraw all your money from your country or do a fast refinancing of your house over there, you know that it will be impossible. It's a trap. It's a corner trap. So
True. No, I have seen many horror stories in this way, and we don't want to talk about those, but they happen all the time, and we've seen it all firsthand. When you are in the country, it's different than people who are outside and they tell you about the country. Is different than actually being every day, dealing with the issues, the struggles, the paperwork, like the frustration sometimes. But at the end of the day, we're here to mitigate that painful, process to get you through the finish line and into a financing that makes sense for you as a client. But the reason I wanted to mostly talk to you because a lot of people complain, oh, the interest is so high in Mexico, but the interest has been going high in the US as well. What do you think that's the main reason? What are the averages that they should consider so they don't get surprised, like, oh my God, it's too expensive? What would be the range that is currently moving? I know that in Mexico moves less frequent than in the US, it goes up and down. It's a little more steady, but what would be the range that you have seen?
when you do your calculation, I will say a number, will get scared. Let's say 14%. You calculate your monthly payment with a 14% interest rate. Now we go on the explanation of the why. You arrive in Mexico with $200,000. You can go at the corner bank and put your money over there at 11% of interest. If you arrive with $500,000, you will get 12.5 or 13%. And it's the net yield, not the thing that you will put on your taxes and pay after the government. No. Here in Mexico, I'm stretching the question. It's not to avoid it. It's to get a good basis for the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
In Mexico, the bank do the taxes for you. So they take your money at 20% at the bank, and you will pay like 9% of taxes, and they give you 11% out of it. Mostly all the bank, they go with a 24-hour cashable money. It's not a trap contract for 7 years that you have penalty to withdraw your money. They don't promise you nothing on your money. You do 1% or minus 5% per year. And if you need your money in 2 years, it will be 5% of a penalty. It's not the same thing here. So in Canada, it's the same for the logical of the interest rate. The interest mortgage rate is based on the 10-year bonds rate. So everybody is happy to have a 4 or 5% interest rate in Canada. But when you invest your money, you get 1.5% out of it that it's taxable. And after that, let's come back to the real story for the mortgage and the highest rate that everybody is care about. In Canada, I don't know a lot about United States because it's different from everywhere. In Quebec, your property will take 2-3% per year of value. So it doubled in 25 years and with the rules of the 72. Here in Mexico, from 2021 to 2022, and the new number will get out in September, the property rose up from 14.6%. Last year, from September 22 to September 23, it goes to 17.1% of value increase in that year. And the financing for foreigners just arrived. So this year, will not put my hand in the fire, but I think it will be 19 or 20% the value increase since last year. Because we have two things. We have the offers and the demand. The offers stay the same. Now, instead of taking one customer out of 1,000 that arrive and pay cash a property, there's 350% that can buy with a mortgage. So the demand rise up the price, so rise up the value. That's the biggest explanation for the interest rate in your country. Plus, here they include life insurance, disability insurance, lost job insurance, cost of reconstruction insurance, all your furniture inside in case of an hurricane is insured by the bank.
Oh, wow.
So we just have to think about Acapulco last year.
Mhm.
So a big nice tower of condo in front of the beach, everybody go there, pay cash, but they have couples of Mexicans that they have their mortgage to buy in those places. Of course, the bank will not reconstruct the tower completely for those who were there. But those who were there with a mortgage, they got to refund their enganche, their cash down. They reevaluate the property, not from the paid price, but from the actual property value 2 days before the hurricane. In Acapulco last year, a lot of people got destroyed by a hurricane or tsunami. I don't know the real exact word.
Mhm.
And the bank won't redo a complete tower, Natalie. But the one who got a mortgage, they put a 30% cash down. They had their place for 3 years, 4 years. The value increased a lot. They got a check. They got a refund from the bank. They didn't lost everything.
Mhm.
So that's one of the things to consider when you arrive in a new market, that it's not your house, that it's not your country, you don't speak the language of the place, you cannot go put all the eggs in the same basket. You
Mhm.
cannot go pay cash 500,000 US dollar property. You go with half and you put the other half in the bank. So you are half liquid, half in property, and you have a security out of it. So that's when we start to cover the big situation of the real estates instead of selling or buying on a headshot.
Yeah. No, that's interesting because I think not many people know, or they don't understand. I didn't even know at the beginning on what was included in a mortgage in this case. That people think it's, a high interest rate, but it comes with a lot of benefits as well. As you mentioned, if your house is paid off, of course, you don't require any insurance. So if, the hurricane goes by, like we had a video about that actually. We have a little documentary of why it's not mandatory to have home insurance, but if you do through your mortgage, then if something bad happens, that allows you recover your assets or your furniture, as you said. And that's, I think, something not many people know. At the beginning, I didn't know, but as we were getting more familiar with these products, I was like, oh, okay, that's actually a benefit, and it's not mentioned all the time.
Because people get scared of the 14%. And I think I'm the only one with my group to say the real number. I
Mhm.
don't see the number in the door at the bank because it's all start at 1020, 995, 895. But you have a plus, a plus, a plus. You're more than 55. You have black hair. No, 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 no. It's another surcharge. You understand?
Yeah.
We don't negotiate the interest rate like we do in Canada or United States. We present all the customer case, and the bank makes us an offer. And it's like, do you want it or no?
Okay.
We cannot be picky by the offer that the bank did. They are the one lending money.
Yes.
We, we need to stop looking for the logic at the back of the logic. They ask you for a black paper, just send me a black paper. That's it. Don't ask me why 25 times. Don't lose 1 week of your precious 30 days or 28 days. It's different mentality. No, I know.
The black
That's the
paper.
reality.
Yeah, that's funny. But it's funny that you mentioned because a lot of people just don't understand why of things, and the more you try to understand, it will break your head. Like that just doesn't make sense. But just do it because the bank is asking for that. And in this case, they work with you. You're representing the client, so you're the broker, helping them in front of different banks and entities to see what's the best deal for the client, right? Instead of going the other way around, that you work for a bank, and if you don't have that financing for the client, you cannot work with the client.
We did test, eh? We did some challenge with real estate agent here because a lot of those they are here for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, and they are used to their comfort zone.
Mhm.
When you talk about a new thing like this, no, don't worry. My customer got money. They don't need you. They don't need financing. It's like, what? They can buy two property instead of one.
Mhm.
Just saying, and people who have money, they love to have more money. They love to have more opportunity. So imagine you are at the restaurant, the table on the side. It's a nice couple. They just got their deeds. They just got their key of their house, and they have a financing. And you are on the side, and you just put all your money in one property. How do you feel as a customer? That's the war now. That's the new game. People want to keep their market. They want to protect their comfort zone.
Yeah.
And the other group want to promote the new thing, trends, and the new way of doing things.
Mhm. And I think that's what I like having conversations with you because I learn something each day. Although we're very familiar with the market, there's always something new that's happening. Or you have to be connected to the new laws, what's coming out. In this way, what will be some legal or regulatory considerations that you see clients need to keep in mind as they're going through the process? Because as you mentioned, I like that you said people who have money, they don't want to put all their cash in one place. You're tying up all your cash, first of all. And I mean, if somebody that has an investor brain will be like, I'm not going to put all my money right here. I can buy probably 4 properties, putting 25% in each instead of 100% in one. And the real estate agent that is short-term thinking, which there are so many in Mexico, and I'm not saying that from a perspective of that happens in all Latin America. We're short-term thinking, but they don't understand that the client benefit can be providing a second option instead of you can pay this one with cash because I make my commission fast and then I'm out, instead of having that client for life and being that advisor for them instead of just quick money and buy, which happens quite a bit. So yeah, what are things that clients need to keep in mind when it comes to legal and regulations that might get them in trouble if they don't know?
Here it's Mexico. So they don't have a lawyer board association. The notary cannot hold your money in an interest account. It's very hard. It will be the good person to find, of course. And after that, it will be to make the good investigation. You go buy a place to 300 US dollar, $300,000. I think it's worth it to put 1,000 to make the complete investigation, the due diligence completely from your side. Don't trust no one here in Mexico. You go with the lawyer. The lawyer will go to Registro Público. He will go to the other place, other place, give you a report. You know that there's no debt on the place. You know that the owner is the owner. You know that the address is the address. They have a title. They don't have a promise of a maybe later, something later. So start there.
Yeah.
And everyone, when I told this, they have the same smile in you. They laugh. But when you go buy a car in United States, a second-hand car, a Mercedes of $60,000, no one will do the deal without bringing the Mercedes to plug the computer in it and got the report. And it costs 500, 600, $700, and it's logical. So why don't do it for something 5 times that value?
Exactly.
So there's no rule. We are the only one here for the mortgage broker. We have an association. It covers all Mexico. Everybody needs to be registered to work with it because we manipulate your passport, your tax declaration, your bank account. So another way, it's the perfect thing to get fraud.
Yeah.
So you need to have the good partner to go through that process.
That's true. And I think many people
No,
just give their documents without knowing where is that going. And you trust in
exactly.
somebody you don't know, or you know for a short period of time, or you met in the internet. So good luck with, having your social security number, your bank account, all that. Like you say, pass from hand to hand to hand, because once you send it to somebody who's not licensed, at least for the brokerages, for the mortgage stuff, it's very important. For us, when we're in the realtor side, we receive kind of the yes or the no. It's like, yeah, you're financed. No, you're not. We don't have to touch any more information but what the developer asks us. But when it comes to financing, you're giving sensitive information. And you better know who you're giving it to, because then there goes your identity theft cases of, I don't know what happened. I'm like, who do you send your last, are you tracking who you're sending your papers to? Because that's very risky.
I understand it, and it's true. That's the actual situation. We had one customer that fell into two chairs, I think 3, 4 months ago. They started with someone in the team. The team member quit the company for doing something else. And at some point, I got a message like, look at the publication about your company. Like, what happened? We contact the customer. We do again all the complete process. Unfortunately, they were, how can I say, they were refused by the bank. But when it comes to my attention, we did everything we can in our power to contact the customer and talk again with them to don't let them think that they send their paper for a fraud company or thing like this.
Yeah.
So all that experience, Natalie, brings us to the secure portal. We switch everything. We reinvent the complete business. We create ourselves with our team
Mhm.
a nice place that for your customer and other real estate customer or referral customer can upload themselves their document on a secure platform. No sending your bank account to blah 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 at gmail.com. Like wow.
I've seen those.
So we use our past mistake to improve and to go a little bit further.
That's funny that, yeah, it's true. A lot of people that I know in Mexico, they do ask you to send sensitive information to their Gmail. Be aware that that's not the best practices. And what I like from your guys' team is that the AI that you incorporate and all that. So I want to come to that for a little bit. And I know that we just had this conversation casually, but I like to mention that because sometimes we don't know what best is unless you compare it to everything else that you've been dealing with and you are frustrated with. So for us, we haven't been able to recommend any broker, like any lending partner, because we just don't know fully how they operate. And I don't want to expose my client to any risk if I don't know the person or they just woke up and now they're a broker. And I just don't know their background, because in Riviera Maya, people come and go daily, in and out of the business, in the real estate space, in other spaces as well. Developers come in and out. People, this is like Vegas. People come to play and they're like gone. And when you're trying to pursue somebody legally on, hey, what happened with my client? Good luck with that. So I haven't been able to recommend anybody in this space. That's why this conversation to me is super important, because we haven't been able to proceed to the next step to finance our clients because we were in the bucket. Hey, you can pay in cash or you can pay installments to the developer, but there's a risk. Pre-sale, you never know what's going to happen. Although we're doing all our due diligence for the developers, we cannot know what's going to happen in the future because we don't have a crystal ball. And we're like, oh my God, which is going to be the good developers, going to be like finishing on time. They're going to do what they said they're going to do. They're going to meet all the promises. We have been hitting, our heads on the wall, literally, like, what the heck is wrong with, some people that they just don't do what they say they're going to do. So when I encounter you and your process, I mean, I love AI. So I was like, encrypted space for documents, seamless process on getting the application through that many brokers don't have. Actually, not even think about. and they work with documents that are sensitive, but they just don't treat it as such. So can you share a little bit about your process? Because I really like it, and I know it's not part of the conversation today, but I think it's super important to know why it's important to have these things and these processes in place for clients.
For clients and for his referral. Because imagine you send me Monica, your customer and friend. Monica get my attention, but you don't have a feedback out of it. You don't know where's Monica. But Monica just sign you promise of buying, give you a deposit, you pass the deposit to the other one, to the constructor, the developer, or the seller. Our process that we put in place, it's a three-party follow-up. Of course, I will never give you the personal information of Monica, but you will be kept in the loop. And like I said, I used all my past mistakes to come and put it another step over, because we are the pioneer of this and we want to stay number one on the top of that market.
Mm-hmm.
So the customer get a referral by your personalized link. The customer, Monica, will register name, family name, email, phone number, and a little questionnaire. So we know what Monica wants, and you didn't have to send me a message. Hey, Alain, can you call Monica? And for me, trying to reach Monica, or having 1,100 WhatsApp group that we lost control over it, because here everything worked by WhatsApp. I never saw that anywhere in the world, but here, WhatsApp group for 3-person WhatsApp group. Not the last one. We had a conversation for over 5 months with 16% in the WhatsApp group. So guess what? There was 17% confused in the group because nobody understand. We lost. So now everything is digitalized. We use WhatsApp, but it's our AI assistants that manage all the flow. Mm-hmm. So you don't have to talk to me to send me a customer. Your customer register herself by your link. So we just save 3 days of trying to reach or trying to do things. Your customer, by filling the little form, got all his instructions black on white in a nice email, not WhatsApp. They have an open for the portal. They have their link, they have the access, and they have the temporary password. They connect themselves, and when they connect themselves on the platform, you got a message saying, Natalie, Monica just connected. So you know where she is in the process. After that, Monica will get a reminder every 2 days, because we don't want to annoy people too. Like, Monica, we still miss this, and this. Mm-hmm. And you will know when Monica have 80% of her documentation uploaded on the platform. You will know when we will be waiting for the answer from the bank. So it's not because I don't want to talk to the real estate agent or don't want to talk to the customer, but at some point we got some more volume. We cannot pass 7 hours a day to make follow-ups because we are talking with the bank. Mm-hmm. So we have a back team that are dedicated only with the banks. They don't speak to customer. They just speak with the banks. Mm-hmm. So all that process, we know at all time where our client is in the timeline or in the process. When it comes to the evaluation, the appraisal, you switch team. You switch from the team from the step 1 to the step 2. So nobody get confused. Someone who's managing or planning the notary appointment, he's not doing the paperwork or copying, scan passport or paper. You understand? Yep. We separate all the jobs and we create like specialists inside all the division. So
I think you mentioned something super important, that is getting the broker in the loop. So sometimes we just don't know, and we have to follow up with 1,000 people, first of all, not only on the buyer side, but on the lending side. So having that partner that takes care of their side without us, hey, do you call the client? Hey, what happened? Getting all these, notification updates, it simplifies our lives as brokers. And I think for those brokers that don't work with a lending partner, it's important to know that at least have a conversation, a relationship, because the same as the US, all our realtors here have their lending partners and or partners to give a few options to the client that they have worked with and they do their job right. Because otherwise, what do you do with somebody who doesn't call the client and they don't present the products that they will best suit the client? So I think having that relationship is super important. And many brokers don't even use a lender because they just don't know. I think it's very important to have this process really like nailed to know that you have a partner that does their thing and their job very, very good and efficiently. And then you do your part of selling more or getting more clients into the onboarding process of buying real estate over there. That's cool. I think something that was came to our last conversation, and I think super interesting for me is that when you were talking about the home valuation, that when you don't work with a bank, you are at the mercy of the valuation of the developer. And they tell you so many good stories, it's like they're trying to date you and then, oh yeah, the moon and the stars and everything shines and we have gold everywhere and then everything is beautiful. And then the delivery comes, right? And that's when the disappointment sometimes comes. But the valuation of the home, to me, is super important because we're trying to do a lot of market studies consistently all the time to get our client the latest price. What's a good price, right? People want to buy Tulum, good price, but they're sometimes overpriced. But we don't know how to tell our clients what's good, what's bad, what's low price, what's a good deal, because we don't have an MLS. So there is no official value. It's just whatever I feel like I'm going to charge. The developer is like, well, this is 400,000. And I'm like, why? Oh, well, because it just is, because of the location. And when you go deeper and when you work with the banks, I like that it's a wake-up call. Many developers don't like the banks because they tell them how much they're worth. Can you share a little bit more about that experience? Because I think that conversation is my favorite that we had before.
We had a couple of times that conversation, and guess what? I'm not friends with all the real estate agent and constructor exactly for that conversation. Will you buy a place at 300,000 when the appraisal got 250? Of course not. If your mother live in front and you want to share Wi-Fi with her and be close to your mother, I understand you are willing to pay 20% more. You understand?
Yeah.
The banks is your protection, is your right arm bodyguard. You're not alone in the process. And guess what? You cannot pass a little quickie to the bank. The famous delivery of the keys. They do a show with that. And like, if I steal a car and I give you the keys, is it your car? No. That's it. The bank will go with the título de propiedad, escritura pública, all paper in order, the connection of the water, the connection of the electricity, termination of the obra. You understand? They have a process, a complete one. So here, the traditional games for the real estate who don't talk about financing and they know about for 1 year, but they keep it in their little box. It's easy. Let's go, let's take money, and the people will wait for their paper. So imagine yourself giving that to an advice to someone of your family. Hey, come, cousin. Yeah, put 300 US thousand dollar here, and yeah, you won't have your paper now. You will. It's always long in Mexico. That's not true. When everything is in order, it's no more than 30 days. And 60 days if you got an administration switch, if you have Christmas involved in the transaction, Easter, because Easter, I think here it's bigger than Christmas. But normally, when it's done the good way and everything is at the notary in the good order, the next month you got your paper. But at least you get out with a copy of something that it will go to be registered at the Registro Público next month. You don't get out with just a paid bill of the notary a paid bill of the last transfer you did to the owner before going there for a signature. And a lot of people bought or buying contract. So, hey, I bought a place in pre-sale 2 years ago. Okay, I sell you back my place. And yes, on the paper, they told you that you can escriturar under the name you want. Like, fuck, sorry. We cannot. You cannot think not like in your country. In Chicago, someone, Natalie, arrive and want to sell you his car, but he don't have the papers. What do? Will you pay the car? Of course not. Will you use his license plate? Of course not. So the real estate business, it was a myth, it was an urban legend that it was like that and like that. So you need to do it like this. I'm not doing friend when I say the truth like this. It's okay, but it's the truth. Do your homework and you will see that it's not the real thing. The last property I bought, it was in August. The 30th of August, we passed at the notary. The 2nd of August, the 2nd of September, I had my deed with the 2 stamps on it. The notary we use, the notary that the bank refers, they are good and they do their job. They are there for you, for protecting you. They are not just there to put money in their pocket. So
Yeah. No, I think
there's only one way to do it, and the good way.
I like the fact that it's more organized because we are putting some order to the chaos. And like you mentioned, it's hard to change people's mindsets, the way they do things usually. And you can come and break their little game. So the thing is like, I don't want to change. Things are fine. But if you change, sometimes things are more efficiently. That is benefiting the client. I think that I learned so much by chatting with you on this space on like how do banks work, how do you operate, and sometimes the realtors don't ask these questions that are so essential to their lenders, their mortgage brokers, and making sure they have a license to work with them before they even start exchanging any papers. So working with lenders, do you see more of the trends in Mexico? Like how is the market right now? Do you feel more people should invest in Mexico right now versus later? Or how has it historically it's been going up, as you mentioned, and the prices, I don't see them going down like at all. At least it's not like fluctuating in the US. It's up and down and up and down. In Mexico is like steady, slow, but very, upwards. So what are the trends that you see in the Mexico real estate market that you can be like, pay attention to these things because that means like good news are coming?
With our lawyer here, last year, we recommend him more or less 50 Canadian who switch their residency. They become permanent resident in Mexico. Mexico is aggressive. Since COVID, they put in place the Recico. It's a taxes program at 2.5% on your income. They are really aggressive to attract new money. They have a good investment and a good banking system that give you real hard money, not a promise of future and over 10 years. It's like if you lend the bank money at 0% interest because they have a crash, they have a boom, they have a crash, they have a boom, but I put you 100,000 at the beginning and I'm working 100,000. In Mexico, it's not that. When I did my residency here, it was needed to have 3,200 of income per month. Now it's more than 9,500 monthly in income to prove to get your permanent residency. So I saw the big boom. We analyzed the Wall Street market and the the stock exchange market. And during COVID and the year after, everybody was minus blah, 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 minus blah, blah, blah. LATAM on Bloomberg was at 12%. It's like if they didn't get touched here by COVID or by the international story, or my Canadian friend were asking me, hey, what about the war? Do you have a lot of news? Shit, I didn't knew that there was a war in Ukraine. And it was like 1 month started because I'm so much here and I'm not watching Canadian news at night. It didn't pass. It was not the big subject here to how can I say, to blind the mind of the people to don't talk about the real thing. Here, you have suckers, you have nice investment and new real estates, and now the new story, it's financing. So for me, the trend is to embrace the change, embrace the wave, and not woke up in 5 years.
Mm-hmm.
How many real estate agents I told them, I advised them, stop paying for publicity. Open your drawer from your last 5 years sale that you did for foreigners. Call them all and told them, hey, we can refinance your house up to 85%. Do you want to see back all your money in your pocket, in your bank account? And I think 10% of all the group did it. But the other one, publicity, publicity, publicity to get a new one for a new project that will be delivered in 2055. Like, why? Why complicate your life like this? But it's okay. I'm not the father of no one.
True. That's, I mean, that's funny, but yeah, it's like buying, in the future, which is good in some cases, but we have so many bad stories as well. And having the protection of an entity that is a financial entity that knows the market, they can touch the pulse of the market instantly to know what's the real value. I think to me has been like the most awakening time, like since we started chatting a few months ago, and I'm like, wait, so that is a backup for our clients, so they know how much is the value of their investments, and they're not taking it from us. We understand the market, we know the value, we can tell by assessing, different properties, but the bank knows the overall country value on what is worth what. So I think for that, that's a big plus. And I think that since you mentioned this is a new process, it hasn't been in place forever yet. It's new. You might not hear about it yet. You slightly will be leaking some information that, oh, it's possible now to finance in Mexico. Yes, the interest is different than in my country, but it's possible. Because if you have an asset, refinancing your asset in Mexico, I didn't even know that was a choice, because we do it in the US to buy another property, to maybe refi cash out, for another investment. But in Mexico, it wasn't seen that way yet, because it wasn't a best practice. People rather just not deal with it. It's paid off. But then when a hurricane comes, make sure they have the insurances. Otherwise, they are not protected as well. Just to, wrap up, we have a lot of information, and I'm sure people can ask you directly as well. What would you tell your people back home, your friends, Canadians that stay in Canada? For us, it's US people that stay in the US, Americans. What would you tell them? How your life has changed since you moved to Mexico, and what are they missing out, if that's what you believe, they're missing out or something?
It will be funny to say. It's nothing to see with financing or real estate.
Yeah.
The food, Natalie, the food, what you eat, it's fresh all year long. It's nice. It's good produce. It's a good cost of living. This is the big advantage of here. And I'm in Playa del Carmen. It's a little city. Everything is at 10 minutes. Of course, the tourist season will come soon. So in the month of November, it's 15 minutes to go to the supermarket. But yeah, I left Montreal and it was 1 hour to go at a place, 1 hour to come back, 1 hour to go. So in all those nice big country, you pass half of your life in your car.
Sure.
There, you can walk everywhere. Everything is close. The food is good. There's a lot of liberty, freedom that you don't have in your country. The first time I drive the wrong way because there's no way on the road, but we imagine that there's a normal way to go. There's park like this, car park like this, and They don't give a damn about that. And I love it. So that's one of the, and
Yes.
of course, all the rest,
Yeah.
all the rest.
I agree.
Even the school for children. You are American. If your daughter want to go to Harvard, it will be 50 or 60,000 per session, per semester. If you are living in Mexico, it will be $500 to pay the mensuality, monthly payment at the university here. And they have the exchange international program. So
Mhm.
you will get to Harvard, but you will pay 250 because the international exchange will, they know that you will have more expense over there to live and eat and blah, blah, blah. So here they give you a 50% discount, but you still pay your university here in Mexico instead of, so combine all that together. You
Mhm.
can take a retirement 10 years before.
Yep.
There's a lot of things to consider while we speak about Mexico and not just here, the Riviera Maya zone to the beach. You can be in on the west side. You can be in the middle of the country. You can. There's a lot of possibility in that in my new nice country.
I love it. No, and I agree with you because I feel like I live a retirement life without retiring. I'm 39 years old and I just feel like at peace over there. I mean, I know there's a lot of struggles too, getting used to the culture, the parking, but at least they don't. Here in Chicago, I park my car for 2 minutes over the parking meter. I have a ticket. I go a little high, the speed in my car. I have a ticket. There's like all this punishment all the time that we live in this suppression sometimes. That when you go there, you're like, wait, nobody's chasing me for money anymore. I don't have a ticket. They didn't tow my car. So $400. So I think that gives you that peace of mind that you're like, I'm good. I can just be home. I'm at peace. And then whenever I, decide to party or do anything else, I can if I choose to. But yeah, I appreciate so much your time, Alan. We learned so many things, and there's so much more we can talk about. But how can people find you online? What's the best way to reach out to you? And Instagram, Facebook.
The website, we have Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. We are starting to have time to take care of those platforms because normally it's referral. We
Mhm.
never had time, but we have to improve every time. So one of my good friends told me a couple weeks ago, like, Alain, you have 21 followers on Facebook. You need to take care of that. Like, what the fuck? On LinkedIn, it's more my platform. I used to work with people of business. So it's like around 1,000 followers, connect them that you do business. But people look on their social media to see if it's someone trustable or someone known by others. So
Mhm.
we are putting that in place now, and we are doing the refreshing of all those platforms. I went in France last year to promote the financing to my friend from France, and we met like 16 real estate agents over there. I think it's my last publication, the video I did in the month of November over there saying, hey, French cousin, we can have financing for you. So we didn't put attention to that because we were overload of work. But now with, like we said, the automated system, now we can breathe. Now we can more manage well the time that we can dedicate to every part of the business. So you will see more of us on the social media in the next time, in the next week, in the next month.
No, and we'll put your links in the description in this video to make sure, and in the podcast to make sure that people can reach out to you at least through the website, learn more, and as you put more content out there to keep an eye what's next, what's new, and get informed. Super important. Just get informed. Ask a million questions to your brokers, not only in the real estate space but also on the lending space. Do not send any information to a Gmail account, please. Um,
The first thing at the top.
Yes. So with that, we'll wrap it up. Thank you again, Alan. So much good information. And we'll see you, everybody else, in the next episode.
Thank you very much. Bye bye.
Bye. Thank you for joining us on the Real Estate Investment Nomad podcast. I hope today's episode has inspired you to explore new horizons in global real estate. Remember, the world is full of opportunities waiting to be discovered. And with the right insights, you can turn those opportunities into successful investments. If you enjoyed the show, please subscribe, rate, and leave a review. Your feedback helps us bring you the best content possible. Don't forget to follow us in social media for more resources and updates. Until next time, my friends, this is Natalie Salas, encouraging you to think big, invest globally, and transform your real estate journey. Safe travels and happy investing.